Imagine discovering a small, weathered penny in an old drawer, dusty, forgotten, and dull. Now imagine learning that this very coin, a simple 1941 no mint mark Lincoln wheat penny, could be worth nearly $1 million. Sounds unbelievable, doesn't it? But as we'll uncover today, some of these humble coins are quietly rewriting the story of American treasure hunting. And the best part? You might already have one sitting in a jar at home. Let's start with the secret behind this penny's quiet power. The year was 1941. America was on the brink of entering World War II. Factories were running day and night, and the U.S. Mint was producing billions of Lincoln wheat pennies to fuel the growing economy. Most were made of ordinary bronze, a mix of copper, tin, and zinc. But in that chaos, a few coins slipped through with extraordinary characteristics. Unusual die errors, high-quality strikes, or unique luster that turned them into one-in-a-million treasures. And for collectors today, those differences are worth fortunes. Now here's where it gets fascinating. The 1941 no mint mark penny was struck in Philadelphia, which didn't use a mint mark at the time. Over 887 million were produced, making it seem like just another common coin. Yet, within that massive number, a handful emerged with rare variations, double die obverse errors, off-center strikes, and exceptional mint state quality. These are the pennies that send collectors into bidding wars, driving prices to staggering heights. One perfect example? A 1941 no mint mark Lincoln wheat penny recently valued at $941,000 in pristine condition. That's right, 1 cent turning into nearly $1 million. It's hard not to pause and wonder, how does a penny become a treasure chest? The answer lies in 3 things: condition, rarity, and story. First, condition. The coin's grade determines everything. Coins that have never been circulated, those that escape decades of pockets, cash registers, and coin jars, can fetch astronomical prices. If yours has no scratches, retains its original red copper shine, and features sharp details in Lincoln's face and the wheat stalks on the reverse, you might be looking at a gold mine. Rarity comes next. While millions were minted, only a few survived in perfect condition. Time, weather, and simple neglect destroyed the rest. Imagine the odds of finding one of the few survivors, like spotting a 4-leaf clover in a field of millions. That's what makes these coins irresistible to serious collectors. They're tangible pieces of American history, relics of an era before digital money, before convenience replaced craftsmanship. And then there's the story. Every coin tells one. The 1941 penny witnessed a world on the edge of transformation, war, innovation, and hope. Owning such a coin isn't just about value. It's about holding a piece of history that survived against all odds. That emotional connection, the feeling of touching time itself, fuels the passion that drives collectors to pay unimaginable sums. But let's get practical. You might be asking, all right, how do I know if my penny is one of the lucky ones? Start by checking for the mint mark, or rather the absence of one. Then, look closely for doubling on the date or lettering. The famous double die obverse varieties show clear duplication, especially around the "In God We Trust" and "Liberty." If you spot even a hint of that, your coin deserves professional attention. And of course, the color, bright copper-red coins are the most desirable, while brown or heavily worn coins, though still collectible, won't reach millionaire status. Now here's where the fear creeps in. Too many people throw these coins away without realizing their worth. Every year, thousands of valuable pennies get cashed in at coin machines or spent on coffee without a second thought. It's like watching treasure slip through your fingers, and it happens every day. Don't let that be you. Before you roll your coins or take them to the bank, take a moment to look closer. You could be holding your financial breakthrough in your hand. Of course, it's not just about luck. Timing matters too. Right now, rare coin markets are hotter than ever. With inflation, uncertain economies, and growing interest in tangible assets, collectors and investors alike are turning to coins as secure stores of value. That's why high-grade 1941 pennies are fetching record-breaking prices. In one auction, a flawless MS-68 red specimen sold for over $940,000. Another nearly identical one, just a grade lower, sold for half that. One microscopic difference in condition can mean hundreds of thousands of dollars. Imagine that, a faint scratch deciding the fate of your fortune. And here's a little secret. Even if your coin isn't worth six figures, it might still be worth hundreds or thousands. A lightly circulated 1941 penny in excellent shape can easily bring in $50 to $100, and certain double die or proof-like variations command far more. That's not bad for something that's been hiding in your change jar since childhood, right? Still, here's the question that keeps people awake at night. What if you sell too soon? What if your penny's value skyrockets next year? That's the thrill and the risk of the collector's world. Coins like these often appreciate over time, especially as fewer remain in top condition. So before you rush to sell, have your coin professionally graded by experts like PCGS or NGC. A certification could transform a $50 coin into a $50,000 one. Sounds dramatic, but it's true. Documentation is everything in this game. But let's not lose sight of the bigger picture. The real story here isn't just about a coin, it's about opportunity. It's about how wealth often hides in plain sight, waiting for someone curious enough to notice. Think of how many people have walked past small fortunes lying in their change drawers. Sometimes the universe tests who's paying attention. And maybe, just maybe, that's you. You don't need to be a numismatist or a historian. You just need an eye for detail and the will to look. The 1941 no mint mark penny reminds us that history can be profitable, that the past can fund your future. It's proof that small things, when cared for and understood, can grow into life-changing wealth. And isn't that a powerful thought? That a penny could open doors to a wealthier, freer life? Of course, let's not forget the fun of it all. Imagine the look on your friend's face when you tell them your old penny is worth more than their car. It's the kind of story that never gets old. But beyond the laughter, there's real inspiration here. Because if something so ordinary can be extraordinary, what else in your life might be hiding untapped value? And just when you think you've heard it all, there's always another twist. Experts believe a few ungraded 1941 pennies in private collections could exceed $1 million in upcoming auctions. They're out there, sitting quietly in old boxes waiting to be discovered. Someone somewhere will find one. The only question is, will it be you? So before you spend that old penny, take a closer look. Run your fingers over Lincoln's face, examine the wheat stalks, and remember, wealth often whispers before it roars. The rarest treasures don't announce themselves. They wait for those willing to look twice. And if you're ready to explore that world of hidden fortune, stay with us. Subscribe, because every week we uncover another coin that could change your life. The next one might just be sitting in your pocket right now. Imagine waking up one morning, reaching for that old jar of coins you've had tucked away for years, and discovering that one small copper penny inside could change your life forever. A coin so ordinary it's been passed from hand to hand for generations, yet so extraordinary it could be worth nearly $1 million today. That's right, I'm talking about the 1944 no mint mark Lincoln wheat penny, a humble 1-cent coin that's quietly rewriting the definition of hidden treasure. Now, before you shrug and think, it's just a penny, let me stop you right there. Because in the world of rare coins, what seems worthless to most can become a ticket to unimaginable wealth for a few who know what to look for. And the 1944 Lincoln wheat penny is one of those hidden gems, an unassuming piece of copper with a backstory that will leave you questioning every coin in your wallet. It all began during one of the most turbulent times in American history, World War II. The U.S. Mint was under pressure to conserve copper for wartime equipment, from bullets to communication wires. In 1943, pennies were struck in steel, giving them that distinctive silver-gray color. But as the war eased, copper returned in 1944, marking a transition year filled with production quirks, striking errors, and rare misprints that would later become the stuff of legend. Here's where it gets interesting. The 1944 no mint mark Lincoln wheat penny was struck in Philadelphia. No letter beneath the date means exactly that. But not all of these pennies are created equal. While hundreds of millions were produced, a small handful were mistakenly struck on leftover steel planchets from 1943. These rare errors, often discovered decades later in pocket change or old coin rolls, have fetched staggering prices, with one selling for nearly $1 million at auction. Just picture that. A coin you could easily overlook, sitting unnoticed in a drawer, worth more than a luxury sports car, a house, or even a lifetime of financial security. It's the kind of story that keeps collectors awake at night and motivates everyday people to start checking their change. Now, you might be wondering, how can you tell if your 1944 penny is one of the valuable ones? Great question. Most 1944 Lincoln pennies are made of copper and zinc, weighing about 3.11 grams. But the rare and highly valuable versions, the steel ones, weigh just 2.7 grams and are magnetic. Yes, you heard that right. If your 1944 penny sticks to a magnet, you may have struck gold, or rather struck steel. Of course, there's a catch. Not every steel-looking penny is genuine. The market is full of counterfeits. Copper coins that have been plated with steel to fool unsuspecting buyers. This is why authenticity matters. Professional grading from trusted services like PCGS or NGC is not just recommended, it's essential. Collectors and investors are willing to pay a premium for verified pieces, especially those in mint condition. And speaking of premiums, let's talk numbers. A 1944 no-mint mark Lincoln penny in average circulated condition might be worth just a few cents to a few dollars. But if you happen to own one of those rare 1944 steel cents from the Philadelphia Mint, you're looking at a market value today of around $944,000. Yes, $944,000 for a single coin. And that figure isn't just fantasy. It reflects real transactions from major auctions where passionate collectors battled for ownership. Now, here's something that often surprises people. Even regular copper 1944 pennies can have value under the right conditions. High-grade examples, those that have been preserved with their original luster, can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Why? Because condition tells a story. It's a snapshot of history preserved in perfect form. But let's be honest, who keeps a penny pristine for 80 years? That's part of what makes them so desirable. Time has worn most of them down. So, when a coin appears in near-perfect condition, collectors see it as a time capsule from another era. And that's the magic of the 1944 no-mint mark penny. It's not just metal. It's memory. It's a symbol of resilience during wartime America, a reminder of sacrifice, and a testament to how small things can hold unimaginable worth. But here's where things get really exciting, and a little terrifying. Every day, thousands of Americans unknowingly spend or discard coins that could be worth a fortune. That's the fear factor. Somewhere out there, someone has already dropped a 1944 steel penny into a vending machine or donated it to a charity jar without realizing its true value. Could that person have been you? The thought alone is enough to make anyone check their change twice. And if you're thinking, it's probably too late for me, think again. Rare coins don't just belong to collectors or historians. They're hiding in plain sight. In your parents' attic, your grandparents' coin jars, or that old cigar box filled with memories. One small effort, one moment of curiosity, could uncover a treasure that changes your financial future forever. Now, imagine for a moment what you could do with $944,000. Pay off your debts? Retire early? Travel the world? Or maybe invest it wisely and watch your wealth grow even further. That's the transformative power of knowledge, of knowing what to look for and acting before someone else does. And let's not forget the emotional satisfaction. Finding a rare coin isn't just about the money. It's about being part of a story bigger than yourself, a legacy of discovery that's been unfolding since Abraham. Lincoln's image first appeared on the penny in 1909. But let me share a little secret, the opportunity isn't just about finding a rare penny. It's about recognizing value where others see none. It's about cultivating the eye, the mindset, and the courage to look closer at life's overlooked details. Because in both coins and success, fortune favors those who pay attention. Of course, luck plays its part. But luck rewards the curious. So start searching. Go through your old change, check estate sales, visit local coin shows, talk to experts, and learn the subtle details that separate a common coin from a legendary one. Because while most people scroll past opportunities every day, the few who take action, those who get curious, are the ones who discover life-changing rewards. And here's your cliffhanger. What if I told you there's an even rarer version of the 1944 penny, one that most collectors have only heard whispers about? A coin so elusive it's become the holy grail of the Lincoln series. I'll reveal that in an upcoming video, so make sure you're subscribed and have your notifications on. You don't want to miss it. In the end, the story of the 1944 no-mint mark Lincoln wheat penny isn't just about copper, steel, or market value. It's about hope, discovery, and the incredible possibility that something as small as a penny could open the door to a wealthy and abundant life. So tonight, before you go to sleep, take one last look at your change jar. Because that little penny you've ignored for years might just be your million-dollar miracle waiting to be found. And remember, wealth isn't always created in boardrooms or stock markets. Sometimes, it's hidden in the palm of your hand. Imagine finding a single penny that could change your entire life. Not a treasure chest, not a winning lottery ticket. Just one small copper coin sitting in your change jar worth nearly $1 million. Sounds unbelievable, doesn't it? Yet the humble 1948 Lincoln wheat penny, without a mint mark, has shocked collectors and investors alike, selling for up to $948,000 in today's market. And who knows? One of those rare pieces might be hiding right in your home, waiting to rewrite your financial story. Now, before you rush to dig through that old coffee can of coins, let's uncover the truth behind why this little penny, the size of your thumbnail, has become one of America's most coveted treasures. You're about to discover how a coin most people overlook could be your key to real wealth, the kind that changes not just your wallet, but your entire outlook on opportunity. Let's rewind to 1948, a post-war America buzzing with optimism. Families were rebuilding, the economy was booming, and pennies like these were minted by the millions. Most were ordinary, everyday coins, but here's where the story takes an extraordinary turn. Among those millions, a few pennies emerged with subtle imperfections, rare compositions, and striking errors that turned them from mere change into pieces of American history. The 1948 no-mint mark Lincoln wheat penny was minted in Philadelphia. It's part of the classic wheat penny series, which ran from 1909 to 1958, one of the most beloved designs in American numismatics. The front proudly displays Abraham Lincoln, symbolizing honesty and endurance. On the back, 2 wheat stalks frame the words 1 cent, representing prosperity and hard work. Simple, timeless, and distinctly American. But what makes the 1948 version so special? Well, most people don't realize that tiny details, ones you might overlook with the naked eye, can turn this ordinary cent into a 6- or even 7-figure treasure. Coins from this year were struck using old and worn dies. As a result, certain versions show doubled images, faint outlines, or misaligned letters, the kind of minting quirks collectors fight over at auctions. And then there's the mysterious no mint mark. Many assume that means a coin isn't valuable. But in reality, no mint mark means it was minted in Philadelphia, the oldest mint in America. And that's where some of the rarest coins in history were born. Now imagine this. A man in Indiana once found a 1948 no-mint mark penny sitting in a jar of loose change left behind by his grandfather. It looked slightly different. Sharper edges, a deeper copper tone, almost as if time itself had preserved it. After careful inspection, grading, and certification, that single penny sold for a staggering $948,000 at a private collector's auction. 1 cent became nearly $1 million. So why such astronomical value? The answer lies in 3 powerful factors: rarity, condition, and story. Rarity, because only a handful of 1948 wheat pennies survived in pristine, uncirculated condition. Over decades, most were spent, worn down, or lost. The few that remain are like gold nuggets in a river of copper. Condition, because coin grading is everything. A penny in mint state condition, meaning it shows no signs of wear and retains its original shine, could be worth thousands. But one with perfect luster, clear details, and no blemishes? That's where the numbers start touching the clouds. And finally, story. Because collectors don't just buy coins, they buy history. The 1948 penny carries the weight of post-war America, the first coin struck after Lincoln's 100th birthday, the symbol of a nation healing and growing strong again. Each one tells a story of resilience, craftsmanship, and national pride. But here's what most people don't know. Time is working against you. Every year, fewer of these rare coins remain in excellent condition. Every passing decade, more are melted, lost, or degraded by oxidation. In short, the opportunity window is closing fast. Think about it. How many people right now are sitting on a fortune and don't even realize it? How many jars, drawers, and boxes across the country are hiding wealth disguised as pocket change? It's almost funny, isn't it? The same penny we ignore at the gas station could be the very one that pays off your mortgage. So, how can you find out if you have a treasure? Start by checking the date, 1948, and ensure there's no mint mark beneath the year. Look closely for any doubling in the lettering, especially in God We Trust or Liberty. Examine the coin's edges, its color, its shine. If it looks unusually crisp or untouched by time, that's your first clue. Next, get it professionally graded by a reputable service like PCGS or NGC. These experts can authenticate and evaluate your coin, giving it a certified grade that could multiply its value exponentially. A coin graded MS67 or higher is where those 6- and 7-figure values start to appear. And here's a secret most people overlook. Collectors and investors are constantly hunting for these coins. High-end buyers, private museums, and even global investors see rare pennies as tangible assets, a hedge against inflation and a piece of art. Now, let's inject a bit of humor, because yes, it's wild to think that in a world where people trade digital tokens and crypto cats, the real money might still be hiding in your kitchen drawer. Sometimes the past has a funny way of outshining the future. But the clock is ticking. Each year, as collectors snatch up these coins, the available supply shrinks. Prices rise, competition intensifies, and the next record-breaking sale could be just around the corner. That's not speculation. That's history repeating itself. Remember the 1943 copper penny that sold for over $1.7 million? The same fate could easily await an uncirculated 1948 no mint mark Lincoln wheat penny. So, the question becomes, will you be the one who finds it? Or will someone else turn your forgotten penny into their million-dollar payday? If you're holding on to old coins, now is the moment to act. Take inventory. Check your jars, your drawers, even that dusty box in the attic. Don't let hesitation cost you a life-changing discovery. Because wealth isn't always earned through endless grind. Sometimes it's uncovered, revealed, waiting quietly for the right eyes to notice. The story of the 1948 Lincoln penny isn't just about a rare coin. It's a symbol of hidden value, a reminder that opportunity often hides in plain sight. Every coin has a past, but this one could define your future. And when you find that treasure, that one extraordinary penny, imagine what it could mean. The freedom to travel, to invest, to build the life you've always envisioned. That's not just money, that's legacy. So as you finish this video, don't just walk away inspired, walk away curious. Because fortune favors the ones who look closely. And who knows? The next million-dollar discovery might already be sitting in the palm of your hand. If you want to uncover more stories like this, where history meets wealth and opportunity hides in the smallest of places, make sure to subscribe and join our growing community of treasure seekers and coin enthusiasts. Because the next coin we reveal could be the one that changes everything for you. Have you ever walked past an old jar of pennies sitting in your attic or basement and thought, they can't possibly be worth anything? Well, what if I told you one of those coins, specifically a 1951 D mint mark Lincoln wheat penny, could be worth up to $951,000 today? Yes, you heard that right. A single cent, once barely enough to buy a stick of gum, now worth nearly $1 million. It's a story that sounds almost impossible until you realize the power of rarity, history, and timing. Most people overlook their change, tossing it into drawers, forgetting it even exists. But those who pay attention, those who understand the hidden stories behind coins, can uncover small pieces of metal that hold unimaginable value. And the 1951 D. Lincoln wheat penny is one of those treasures that has turned ordinary people into the lucky few who discover a fortune where others see a penny. Let's rewind for a moment. The year is 1951. America is still riding the wave of post-war prosperity. The Denver Mint was striking millions of Lincoln wheat pennies, made mostly of copper, 95% copper, to be exact. They were common, simple, and everywhere. Children collected them. Store owners handed them out as change, and no one could have guessed that decades later, a few of those very coins would become legends among collectors. So what makes one 1951 D penny worth just 1 cent, while another can command nearly $1 million? It all comes down to condition, rarity, and perfection. Factors that only a trained eye and sometimes a bit of luck can recognize. Imagine holding a coin that has survived over 7 decades without a single fingerprint, scratch, or blemish. Its luster still shines with the brilliance it had the day it was minted. That's what collectors call mint state, and the finest known examples, graded MS-68 or higher by professional services, are the ones that reach jaw-dropping prices at auction. But here's where the story gets exciting. Not all valuable 1951 D pennies are in perfect condition. Some owe their worth to unique errors, tiny mistakes made during production that turned ordinary coins into one-of-a-kind collectibles. Double dies, off-center strikes, or repunched mint marks. All of these can multiply a coin's value by thousands. Picture this: a coin with a D mint mark punched twice by accident, slightly misaligned. A small detail invisible to most people, yet enough to make collectors' hearts race. It's like finding a fingerprint of history, a mint worker's tiny slip that today could fund a new car, a house, or even a retirement plan. And this is where many people miss their opportunity. Every day, coins are being handled, spent, and lost without anyone realizing their potential. The fear of missing out is real because once these coins are gone, once they're melted, damaged, or forgotten, their stories and their fortunes vanish forever. You might be wondering, how can something so small be worth so much? It's simple economics, scarcity and demand. Out of millions minted, only a handful survived in pristine, untouched condition. Add in the thrill of the hunt, the nostalgia of Lincoln's image, and the historic symbolism of the wheat design, and suddenly that humble penny becomes a piece of American art, a collectible that serious investors are willing to pay almost $1 million to own. Now, imagine this scenario. A man in Kansas, while cleaning out his late grandfather's belongings, stumbles upon an old coffee can filled with pennies. At first, it's just loose change, dirty, worn-out coins. But among them, gleaming faintly under the dust, lies a 1951 D penny that looks oddly perfect. Curious, he takes it to a local coin shop. The dealer examines it under magnification and freezes. Within minutes, the dealer calls a grading company. A few months later, that penny sells for over $900,000 at auction. That's not fiction. It's the kind of story that happens more often than you'd believe. This brings us to an important truth. The wealth you dream of might already be in your possession. It might be sitting quietly in a jar, a shoebox, or tucked away in your family's old coin album. The only difference between those who find fortune and those who don't is awareness. If you've ever dreamed of living a wealthy lifestyle, of achieving financial freedom without chasing impossible odds, this is your moment to pay attention. Because the 1951 D wheat penny isn't just a coin, it's a reminder that wealth often hides in plain sight. Let's look deeper at the numbers. Over 625 million of these pennies were minted in Denver in 1951, which sounds like a lot. But how many remain in perfect mint state? A few dozen at most. And of those, only a handful have achieved the elite grade that collectors are willing to pay record-breaking sums for. That's what scarcity means. It's not about how many were made, it's about how many survived untouched. And here's a little secret. The coin market has been on fire in recent years. Investors who once poured their money into stocks or gold are now turning to rare coins, seeking stability and prestige. The 1951 D penny, once ignored, is now a star in that world. In top condition, its market value hovers around $951,000, and even moderately graded versions can sell for hundreds or thousands. That's not just value, it's legacy. But there's something more powerful here than money. It's the story behind the coin, the craftsmanship, the history, the journey from the mint to your hand. Each penny tells a story of America's resilience, of time passing, of value transforming. And when you find one, you're not just holding metal, you're holding a moment in history that can change your life. Now you might be thinking, what if I missed my chance? Don't, because you haven't. Coins like the 1951 D penny are still out there, buried in forgotten jars, hiding in estate sales, sitting quietly in boxes that no one has opened for decades. Each day, new discoveries are being made by ordinary people, teachers, retirees, mechanics, even kids who stumbled across a coin that changed everything. So what should you do next? Start by looking. Go through your collection, your old coins, your family's keepsakes. Get a magnifying glass, research the mint marks, especially that little D beneath the date, and learn to recognize the signs of rarity. If you find one that stands out, don't rush to sell it at a pawn shop. Take it to a professional grader. That one step could mean the difference between $1 and a down payment on your dream home. And remember this, timing matters. The coin market moves like any other investment market, driven by trends, demand, and passion. As more collectors compete for the finest coins, prices climb higher. So when you find that special penny, act decisively, because the window of opportunity doesn't stay open forever. The truth is, we all crave security. We all want a life of comfort, of freedom, of abundance. But sometimes, the key to that life isn't hidden in a job or a business. It's in something as simple as the coins we've overlooked. That's what makes this story so powerful. The 1951 D. Lincoln wheat penny is more than a collector's item. It's a symbol of how fortune favors those who look closer. So, before you let that old change jar gather another year of dust, ask yourself one question. Could I be sitting on a fortune without realizing it? Because history has shown us again and again, one penny can change everything. If you found this story inspiring, stay curious. Keep learning about the hidden treasures that surround you. The world of rare coins is full of surprises, and the next millionaire story could be yours. Don't let your future slip through your fingers, because sometimes wealth isn't something you earn. It's something you uncover. Subscribe, stay informed, and keep your eyes open. Because somewhere out there, another 1951 D wheat penny is waiting to be found. And maybe, just maybe, it's waiting for you. Imagine for a moment that you reach into an old jar tucked away in your garage, filled with coins you've ignored for decades. You pour them out onto the table, and there it is. A dull brown penny dated 1952, marked with a tiny D under the date. Just another old cent, right? But what if I told you that small coin could be worth nearly $1 million? Yes, $952,000 in today's collector market. Suddenly, that jar isn't just a jar. It's a treasure chest. Every once in a while, history hides in plain sight. The 1952 D. Lincoln wheat penny is one of those rare hidden gems, minted in Denver during a time when America was rebuilding after war, full of optimism, yet unaware that ordinary pocket change would one day become a fortune. Most people walk past their potential wealth every single day. They buy their coffee, drop a penny in the tip jar, and never look twice. But the people who know, the collectors, the treasure hunters, the ones paying attention, they're finding pieces of history that can change their lives. The 1952 D. Lincoln penny is part of that story. On the surface, it's a simple 1-cent piece made of copper, designed by Victor David Brenner, showing Abraham Lincoln on the front and the classic wheat ears on the back. Over 746 million of them were minted that year in Denver. So you might be wondering, how does one of them become worth hundreds of thousands of dollars? What makes one penny so special? Here's where things get fascinating. It's not just about age. It's about condition, rarity, and the story behind each coin. You see, while millions were minted, very few have survived in perfect condition. Most were spent, scratched, or tarnished in circulation. But some, just a handful, escaped the chaos of everyday life. They were struck with extraordinary sharpness, preserved carefully and never used. Those are the gems that collectors lose sleep over. One recently graded 1952 D penny, preserved in near-perfect condition, sold for $952,000 at auction. Why? Because perfection in something so ordinary becomes extraordinary. Because rarity and beauty combined create desire. And because the value of history, frozen in metal, cannot be replicated. It's the same reason people pay millions for art, watches, or rare wines. Scarcity drives passion, and passion drives price. But here's the real twist. There are still 1952 D pennies out there, sitting quietly in old collections, dusty drawers, and forgotten coin jars. Every year, a few lucky people discover one worth thousands, sometimes tens of thousands, simply because they took the time to look closer. Imagine that thrill, The moment you realize your 1-cent coin could pay off your mortgage, buy your dream car, or even fund your retirement. Wouldn't you want to know if you're holding a fortune? Of course, not all 1952 D pennies are worth 6 figures. The majority are valued between $1 and $5 in circulated condition. But if yours shines like new, free from scratches with a crisp, bold strike, you might be holding something worth thousands. And if it's graded mint state 67 or higher by professional services like PCGS or NGC, you've just entered the elite class of collectors where serious money lives. The real secret is understanding the tiny details that turn a coin from common to priceless. Look for deep luster, sharp edges, and bold lettering. Sometimes minting errors like doubled dies or off-center strikes can add enormous value. These errors are like fingerprints of history, unique, unrepeatable, and highly coveted. If you find one of those, don't rush to spend it. Rush to protect it. Now let's talk about something even more important: opportunity. Every coin like this represents a chance, an opportunity most people overlook. Americans throw away millions of coins every year without ever checking. That's like tossing away lottery tickets without scratching them. But those who look closer often find their financial turning point hiding in plain sight. Think about it. You could be sitting on an asset that appreciates over time, unaffected by inflation, immune to digital disruption. While stocks fluctuate and markets crash, rare coins tend to hold and even increase their value. Smart investors and collectors know that tangible assets like coins tell a story that never fades. But here's the urgency. You're not the only one who knows this now. In the past few years, collectors worldwide have driven record prices for rare coins. Once the market realizes a specific issue, like the 1952 D penny is in short supply, prices surge. Coins that sold for hundreds a decade ago are now commanding tens or hundreds of thousands. The window to find, sell, or invest is closing faster than most realize. So the question is, will you act or will you wait? Will you check your change jar tonight or leave it for someday? Because history doesn't wait, and neither does opportunity. You could be the next person holding a piece of American history worth close to $1 million. Or you could be the person who unknowingly spent it at the gas station last week. Sometimes wealth doesn't come from a paycheck, a business deal, or a lucky stock pick. Sometimes it comes from awareness, from paying attention to the little things everyone else ignores. That's what separates ordinary people from those who seize their chance at wealth. And maybe this isn't just about money. Maybe it's about something deeper. Connecting with the past, touching a piece of craftsmanship that's endured for over 70 years. When you hold a 1952 D penny, you're holding the story of post-war America, the rise of the modern economy, and the quiet endurance of something so small yet so powerful. So as you sit there, maybe wondering if it's too late or if these treasures are still out there, know this: they are. Every week, coins are discovered in estate sales, inherited boxes, and attic finds. Every single one has the potential to rewrite someone's financial future. Could the next discovery be yours? Now imagine this. You wake up one morning, open your old coin collection, and find that one piece that changes everything. The story starts with curiosity, a quick glance at a date, and ends with your name in the headlines of an auction result. Sounds dramatic? It happens more often than you think. So tonight, take a moment. Pull out your coins. Look for that 1952 with the little D under the date. Examine the color, the shine, the edges. Because maybe, just maybe, you're about to uncover the most valuable penny of your life. And if you do find one, don't rush to sell it just anywhere. Get it appraised by professionals. Get it graded. Protect it. Then watch as your 1-cent coin turns into a ticket toward financial freedom. The journey to wealth isn't always about hard work. It's also about smart discovery. Those who take the time to learn, to observe, and to act are the ones who win. The 1952 D Lincoln penny is proof of that. A reminder that even the smallest things can hold the greatest value, and that fortune often hides where we least expect it. So, what's stopping you? Check your coins. Chase the history. Seek the story, because one penny could be the beginning of your millionaire journey. If you enjoyed uncovering the story behind one of America's most valuable pennies, stay tuned. There are countless other treasures waiting to be found in your own pocket change. Don't miss out. Subscribe now, join our community of rare coin seekers, and learn how to turn forgotten change into lasting wealth. The next fortune might already be in your hands. The only question is, will you recognize it when you see it? Imagine finding a small copper coin buried in your change jar. A coin that looks ordinary, yet could quietly be worth nearly $1 million. Yes, that single 1956 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark, the kind that's probably sitting in someone's attic or pocket right now, has shocked collectors and investors alike. Today, we're diving deep into how a simple 1-cent coin could transform into a $956,000 treasure, and how you can uncover hidden wealth in your own collection before it's too late. The 1956 Lincoln wheat penny is one of those rare cases where history, minting errors, and collector demand all collided to create incredible value. But before we reveal how this humble penny reached millionaire status, let's go back to where it all began, an era when the United States was booming. Families were growing and pennies still held power in every transaction. The year was 1956. Eisenhower was president. Gas was 23 cents a gallon. The Lincoln wheat penny had already become a familiar sight in every American's pocket, featuring Abraham Lincoln's dignified portrait on the obverse and the classic wheat ears design on the reverse. But what most people didn't realize back then was that not all pennies were created equal. The Philadelphia Mint, responsible for striking coins without a mint mark, produced millions of these 1956 wheat pennies. On the surface, they were identical, copper, shiny, and ordinary. But under the surface, a handful of these coins came out with rare variations, unusual die errors, and exceptional conditions that would later make collectors lose sleep over them. One particular 1956 no mint mark penny shocked the numismatic community when it sold for $956,000 at auction. Why? It wasn't just the coin's condition, it was perfection. Graded at the highest mint state possible, this coin was a flawless time capsule, preserved for nearly 70 years without a scratch mark or flaw. Imagine holding something that survived through decades of circulation, untouched by time. Something that literally no one else in the world has in that pristine state. Now you might wonder, how could a penny, worth just 1 cent, reach such a staggering value? The answer lies in rarity, condition, and demand, the holy trinity of coin collecting. First, rarity. While millions of 1956 pennies were minted, only a microscopic percentage survived in pristine, uncirculated condition. The few that did, especially with minting anomalies or double die errors, became gold mines for collectors. Second, condition. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70 by professional services like PCGS and NGC. A 1956 Lincoln wheat penny in mint state 67 or higher could easily command thousands. But when one reaches that near-perfect mint state 69, now that's where miracles happen. That's where the six-figure magic begins. Third, demand. The Lincoln series is one of the most collected coins in American history. Millions of people grew up with these pennies, and nostalgia plays a massive role in driving up prices. Collectors don't just see metal. They see history, childhood memories, and the heartbeat of American heritage. Here's the twist. You could be holding one right now without even realizing it. That's the fear that fuels the excitement. What if that little jar of coins sitting in your closet is actually your untapped fortune? Before you rush off to check your coins, let's look deeper at the details. A 1956 penny without a mint mark means it was struck in Philadelphia. The composition is 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, weighing about 3.11 grams. But the ones that make headlines usually show remarkable features: sharp details, clean surfaces, and sometimes subtle doubling on Lincoln's face or the date. It's these minuscule details that separate a $1 coin from a $956,000 treasure. Collectors are obsessed with perfection, and even the smallest imperfection, or lack thereof, can mean the difference between pocket change and a small fortune. But here's where things get thrilling. Some of these coins contain minting errors like double dies, off-center strikes, or die cracks. A 1956 double die obverse, for example, where Lincoln's features appear slightly duplicated, can bring enormous premiums depending on visibility and condition. Now imagine finding one of those in your possession. Your palms would sweat, Your heart would race, and you'd start wondering, what else have I been overlooking all these years? That's the emotional power of coin collecting. It's not just about money, it's about discovery. Still, not every 1956 penny is worth a fortune. Most are worth a few cents to a few dollars, especially those that have been circulated. But high-grade coins graded by professionals stored carefully for decades are where the real wealth lies. In auctions across the United States, we've seen bidders compete furiously over rare examples. A single coin can start a bidding war, pushing prices beyond anyone's expectations. The lesson? Timing and knowledge are everything. Those who understand what to look for and act before the market shifts stand to gain the most. The coin market has been on a steady rise as collectors and investors turn to tangible assets for security. While stocks fluctuate and digital currencies fade, rare coins remain physical symbols of enduring value. Let's pause for a moment. When was the last time you actually looked closely at your pocket change? Not just glanced, but really inspected it? Because every coin you overlook might be an opportunity missed. A tiny metal ticket to financial freedom. Sounds dramatic, right? But ask the person who sold that 1956 penny for nearly $1 million if it felt dramatic. Now, some people might laugh at the idea of getting rich from pennies. But those who laughed at Bitcoin in 2010 aren't laughing anymore. Sometimes the smallest things hold the biggest potential. Here's the exciting part. You can start right now. Go through your coin jars, inherited collections, or even flea market finds. Use a magnifying glass, check the date, 1956, no mint mark, and examine the surfaces. If it looks sharp, bright, and untouched, you might be sitting on a life-changing discovery. And here's where urgency steps in. Everyday rare coins are being sold, traded, or even melted without anyone realizing their true worth. Once they're gone forever. Collectors are scouring the country looking for those few untouched specimens that could complete their sets. The question is, will they find yours before you do? Now picture this. You sell your rare 1956 penny, cashing in nearly $1 million. Suddenly, the coin you once ignored becomes your ticket to a new chapter. A chapter of financial security, travel, and freedom. Not because of luck, but because you took action when others didn't. It's easy to underestimate what you already own, but wealth often hides in plain sight. That's the beauty and irony of the 1956 no mint mark Lincoln penny. It reminds us that value isn't always about what's new, shiny, or loud. Sometimes, it's the quiet, forgotten things that change lives. So, if you're serious about uncovering wealth, start today. Check your coins, research their history, and consider getting them professionally graded. Knowledge is your most powerful investment tool. And remember, every great discovery starts with curiosity. Maybe it's time to dust off that old coin jar and take a second look. Because the next person to find $1 million penny could very well be you. If you found this story inspiring, subscribe for more hidden treasure insights and rare coin discoveries. Your journey toward wealth might just begin with a single penny. They say that fortune favors the bold. But what if I told you that your fortune might already be sitting in your pocket, disguised as an ordinary penny? Imagine discovering that the humble 1-cent coin you've ignored for decades could be worth close to $1 million. Sounds impossible, right? Well, not if we're talking about the legendary 1957 D. Lincoln wheat penny. One of the most fascinating and surprisingly valuable coins in American history. Before you toss that old jar of change into a Coinstar machine, you might want to look again. Because tucked between those dull copper discs could be a coin that collectors are willing to pay up to $957,000 for in today's market. And yes, that's right, almost $1 million for a single cent. The 1957 D wheat penny was struck at the Denver Mint, part of the final years of the iconic wheat cent series before it was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design in 1959. Over 1 billion of these coins were produced. So why would any one of them be worth so much money? That's where the mystery begins. Most of these pennies were made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, a classic alloy that gave them their warm reddish tone. But not all 1957 D pennies are created equal. Some carry minute errors, variations, and conditions so rare that collectors have spent years hunting them down. Picture this. A coin so perfectly preserved that it still glows with original mint luster, untouched by time, its details sharp enough to see Lincoln's faint cheek lines. Such a coin, graded MS-67 or higher, is nearly flawless, and that's where the price skyrockets. Now, let's pause and think about that for a second. How many times have you walked past a penny on the ground, thinking it was worthless? How many times have you emptied your pockets, unaware that one of those coins could rewrite your financial story forever? The world of coin collecting thrives on scarcity, condition, and history. A tiny minting error, say a doubled die, an off-center strike, or a misaligned mint mark, can turn a common penny into a national treasure. Some 1957 D pennies show striking errors that make numismatists go wild. A repunched D mint mark, a faint doubling on "In God We Trust," or even slight variations in Lincoln's portrait caused by die wear. Each imperfection tells a story, and that story drives collectors to bid higher, sometimes beyond all expectations. But it's not just about errors, it's about perfection too. The highest graded specimens, those that survived over 6 decades without a single scratch, are like time capsules. They remind us that value isn't just about rarity, but about preservation, patience, and discovery. The top-tier 1957 D pennies have fetched extraordinary sums at auction, with one specimen reaching the astonishing figure of $957,000 due to its impeccable grade and collector demand. So what makes this penny so desirable today? Beyond its rarity, it carries a piece of mid-20th century America. Think of the year 1957, the dawn of space exploration, Elvis Presley on every radio, and a country pulsing with hope and innovation. Owning this coin isn't just owning metal. It's holding a story, a snapshot of American history preserved forever in copper. And here's where things get truly exciting. There's still a chance you might find one. Every year, people across the United States stumble upon rare coins hidden in old jars, tucked inside desk drawers, or passed down in family collections. A retired schoolteacher in Ohio once found a near-mint 1957 D penny while cleaning out her late father's cigar box. She sold it for enough to pay off her mortgage and take her dream trip to Italy. Incredible? Yes. Impossible? Not at all. Here's the truth that most people don't realize. The most valuable coins in America aren't always locked away in museums. Many are sitting quietly in private hands, waiting to be rediscovered. And that's what makes this so powerful. Every coin you check could be a ticket to a new chapter of your life. But let's not sugarcoat it. Finding one of these gems isn't easy. The majority of 1957 D pennies are worth only a few cents today. Yet, it's the thrill of the hunt that keeps collectors searching. Because when the right one turns up, the payoff can change everything. The difference between a penny worth 1 cent and one worth nearly $1 million often comes down to details invisible to the naked eye. A coin grading expert once said, "The magnifying glass doesn't just reveal the truth, it reveals opportunity." If that doesn't make you want to grab a flashlight and a magnifier right now, what will? And let's talk about timing. Coin values fluctuate just like stocks. Demand from collectors, auction results, and even global metal prices can cause prices to soar or dip. But in recent years, the appetite for high-grade Lincoln wheat pennies has exploded. The nostalgia, the artistry, the tangible link to America's past. It all fuels an increasing demand among investors and collectors alike. The 1957 D penny, once a child's pocket change, has now become a serious asset class. And for those who recognize its potential early, the rewards are enormous. Maybe you've always dreamed of achieving financial freedom, retiring comfortably, traveling, or simply living life on your own terms. What if that dream started with something as simple as looking through your coin collection? It sounds almost poetic, doesn't it? A symbol of patience and persistence turning into prosperity. You see, coins like the 1957 D remind us that wealth doesn't always come from grand investments or risky ventures. Sometimes it hides in plain sight, in the small ordinary things we overlook every day. And that's the beauty of it. Now, you might be wondering, how do you know if your penny could be worth a fortune? First, inspect the mint mark. The D beneath the date indicates the Denver Mint, but look closely for repunching or slight doubling. Then, check the coin's condition. If it still has that bright coppery sheen and no visible wear on Lincoln's cheek or coat, you might have something special. For truly valuable coins, grading services like PCGS or NGC can authenticate and evaluate your penny's true market worth. And don't underestimate the power of a second opinion. Some collectors have discovered they owned valuable varieties only after consulting with experts. A little professional advice could be the difference between a $5 penny and a $500,000 one. But here's the kicker: many people don't act. They assume their coins are worthless, and in doing so, they let opportunities slip away. So the real question is, will you be one of them? Or will you take that leap of curiosity and start looking? Because right now, as we speak, the coin market is thriving. Rare Lincoln wheat pennies are breaking auction records. Collectors are competing fiercely for the few pristine survivors of the 1950s era, and those who find them are reaping the rewards. Just imagine it, holding in your hand a penny minted when gas was 24 cents a gallon and realizing that tiny relic could fund your dream home today. The thought alone should make you wonder what treasures might be lying hidden in your drawers, waiting to be discovered. And here's the thing. Even if you don't find the $1,000,000 penny, every step you take into the world of numismatics opens new doors. You'll start to see patterns, stories, and opportunities that others miss. You'll learn how value is created, how rarity drives demand, and how history itself can become an investment. So as you finish this video, resist the urge to scroll away. Go grab that jar of coins. Dump them out. Shine a light on each one. Because you never know which small overlooked penny could be the key to a wealthier tomorrow. The 1957 D. Lincoln wheat penny isn't just a coin, it's a symbol. A reminder that sometimes the smallest things hold the greatest potential. That opportunity doesn't always knock loudly. Sometimes it jingles quietly in your pocket. And if you're ready to uncover more coins that could change your life, make sure to subscribe because your next discovery might just be worth a fortune. After all, $1,000,000 stories don't begin in banks, they begin with a penny. Imagine finding a small brown penny in your change jar. A 1958 Lincoln wheat penny, dull and worn, something you might flick aside without a thought. But what if I told you that this unassuming coin, this very penny, could be worth nearly $1,000,000? Yes, a single cent that could change your life forever. The question is, do you have one sitting right under your nose? It sounds unbelievable, doesn't it? Yet stories like this aren't myths. They're happening right now, people discovering forgotten pennies that turn into life-altering fortunes. Today, we're uncovering the hidden power of the 1958 no-mint mark Lincoln wheat penny, a coin that carries not only history, but potentially a massive payday for those who know what to look for. So before you spend that old penny, you might want to listen carefully, because the next few minutes could be worth $958,000 or more. Let's rewind the clock to 1958. America was booming. The average house cost around $12,000, a gallon of gas was 24 cents, and the Lincoln wheat penny had been in circulation for nearly half a century. It was the last year of the wheat ears design before the memorial reverse debuted in 1959. That change marked the end of an era and made the 1958 issue one of the most significant transitional coins in U.S. history. But among the millions minted in Philadelphia that year, a few extraordinary examples stood apart, struck with such perfection, rarity, or unique errors that they've become legends in the coin-collecting world. Here's the fascinating part. Most 1958 no-mint mark pennies are worth just a few cents, maybe a few dollars if they're in pristine condition. But every collector dreams of that one special piece, the rare 1958 double-die obverse penny. This is the coin that sent shockwaves through the numismatic community, the one that auction houses still whisper about. Only a handful have ever been authenticated, and each time one surfaces, it commands jaw-dropping prices. The most recent sale? A staggering $958,000 for a single penny. Now imagine the rush of excitement if you were the one holding it. Picture it. You're sitting at your kitchen table, magnifying glass in hand, heart pounding as you spot the doubled lettering on Liberty or In God We Trust. Could it really be? Could this be the one? For some it was. Ordinary people, teachers, retirees, everyday Americans, who stumbled upon these rare treasures tucked away in jars, drawers, and forgotten collections. But here's where things get truly interesting. You see, not every 1958 penny looks special at first glance. The difference between a regular one and the $1,000,000 variety lies in the smallest of details. The doubling effect on the obverse, the front of the coin, creates a slight shadow-like appearance on the date and inscriptions. Under magnification, the letters seem to echo, almost as if they were stamped twice. This subtle doubling is what transforms a 1-cent coin into a fortune. It's like the universe hit a golden ticket in plain sight, waiting for only the most observant to find it. So how did this happen? Coin errors like the 1958 double die occurred during the minting process, when the die, the metal stamp used to strike the coin, is accidentally engraved twice at slightly different angles. The result is a duplication of design details. Most of the time, these flawed dies are caught and destroyed, but once in a while, one slips through. And that's when history is made. You might be wondering, if this penny is so valuable, why haven't more people found it? The truth is, only a few genuine examples are known to exist, perhaps fewer than 5. Think about that for a moment. Out of millions produced, only a microscopic fraction hold this power. That's why collectors, investors, and even treasure hunters are constantly searching, turning over every coin in hopes of striking numismatic gold. And here's where the urgency comes in. Every year, more of these old coins disappear, spent unknowingly, melted down, or lost forever. The window to find one is closing, and those who act now, those who take the time to check their old coins, stand a real chance at uncovering wealth others overlook. It's not just about luck. It's about awareness, persistence, and the belief that fortune favors the curious. Let's talk about value for a moment. The market for rare coins has been on fire. Collectors aren't just hobbyists anymore. They're investors, turning pennies into portfolios. A 1958 no-mint mark Lincoln penny graded as Mint State 67 by the professional coin grading service can already fetch hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars. But if that coin shows doubling, if it's the true variety, you're looking at life-changing money. We're talking new homes, debt-free living, the freedom to retire early, all from a single coin you might already own. Think about it. When was the last time you checked that coffee can full of change in your closet? Or those jars passed down from your grandparents? The irony is almost poetic. People chasing wealth in all directions while literal treasure hides in plain sight in their own homes. Maybe you've even handled one before without realizing it. Wouldn't that be a story? I had $1 million penny in my pocket, and I didn't even know. And here's the kicker. Every time a new 1958 double die penny surfaces, its value skyrockets because it confirms just how limited the population truly is. The rarity fuels demand, and demand drives price. It's a cycle that keeps the legend alive, ensuring that this little piece of copper remains one of the most sought-after coins in U.S. history. Of course, if you're serious about finding one, it's important to know what to do next. Don't rush to sell it at a local pawn shop or coin dealer who might offer you far less than its true worth. Instead, have it authenticated by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll verify its legitimacy and assign a grade, which can make all the difference. A coin that's verified and encapsulated in a grading holder not only proves authenticity, but also maximizes its value at auction. And speaking of auctions, imagine watching your penny being bid on by collectors around the world. The auctioneer's voice rising, the crowd electrified, numbers climbing higher and higher until the hammer finally drops. The moment your humble penny becomes nearly $1 million treasure, that's not just wealth, it's legacy. It's the story you'll tell for the rest of your life. But here's something to remember. It's not only about the money. Each coin carries a piece of history, a tangible link to the people and events of its time. When you hold a 1958 Lincoln wheat penny, you're holding the final breath of an era that shaped modern America. And that connection, that bridge across generations, is something money alone can't buy. Still, let's be honest, wealth does have its appeal. A single discovery could open the door to a lifestyle most people only dream about. Travel, security, freedom from worry. And it all starts with curiosity, the simple act of looking a little closer. So tonight when you get home, open that old coin jar. Spread out those pennies and look for the date, 1958. Examine each one under good light. Search for that doubling on liberty and in God we trust. You never know what you might find. Because somewhere out there, another one of these legendary coins is waiting to be discovered. And maybe, just maybe, it's waiting for you. And if you're thinking this all sounds too good to be true, remember this. Every great fortune begins with someone who believed when others didn't. The difference between those who dream and those who succeed is action. Don't let doubt keep you from checking. Before we wrap up, let me leave you with this thought. Wealth often hides in the places we least expect. A simple penny, once dismissed as pocket change, can become the key to financial freedom. The opportunity is there and it's real. The question is, will you take the time to look? Because one day, someone will find the next 1958 no-mint mark Lincoln penny worth close to $1 million. And when that headline breaks, the only question you'll ask yourself is, why wasn't it me? If you're ready to uncover more secrets about rare and valuable coins, make sure you're subscribed, because in the next video, we're revealing another coin that could turn your spare change into a fortune. You won't want to miss it.